All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 577 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today, we're going to finish up our series of the NFC South, talking about the New Orleans Saints. And I've been looking at this roster, and I've been looking at some of the moves they made. There's not much out here that really jumps out at me to really say it's been a big splash. It's going to be really interesting to talk about this team because, to be honest with you, even though they're our biggest rivals in the division, I just don't see much here. But we'll get into that. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I want to thank you guys for the support. I really, really appreciate it. I can't thank you guys enough. The website I have is firstandframerates.com. Go check that out. It's like the hub of the podcast and everything that goes along with it. It also can be found on Twitter at VF Baller. So most of the stuff I put over there is stuff that don't make the show, or you can just follow me and ask questions on the fly. I usually answer. I know today, right now, I'm wearing my Georgia Southern stuff. You know, I really, really love that team. I wish I had some news to report on them. I am really, really excited about this upcoming season for that team. So soon as I hear something, I'm definitely going to be responding or reacting or just come up with another story for the team, because I think they're gonna turn a lot of heads this year. I think they're gonna do really good. Now let's go ahead and get into this. The New Orleans Saints have made a lot of moves this offseason, a lot of moves. But a lot of the moves that they made wasn't really anything that or anyone for that matter, just jumped out and was like, oh, they're making moves. It's not like what we did. The Falcons really had a lot of cap space to do some things, and what the Saints did is kind of respectable, because they were like the team with the least amount of money, or they were like the most in the negative as far as cap space. So they weren't really able to do much. They ended up moving around to get Derek Carr, so that's like the biggest thing that they really done. And I honestly, I didn't know this. They just they signed Brian Edwards about 2 weeks ago. Our former receiver that played for the Falcons that really didn't do much. They signed him, and they also signed tight end Foster Moreau to a 3-year contract. So they made some moves, but nothing that really, jump out and be like, okay, this is going to be something big, because, they lost their defensive coordinator. I mean, they lost their defensive line coach, which is now our defensive coordinator. And they lost a handful of players that moved from the Saints to the Falcons. So what they did was they ended up getting some guys to replace them. I know they got Kalen Saunders, which was a defensive tackle that they signed to a 3-year deal. They also drafted a couple of guys that's going to be up on the defensive line as well. So they kind of replaced those guys. And when we talk about the draft picks, they didn't have a first-round pick, but they got one because of the Sean Payton situation. Sean Payton went to Denver, and Denver gave up their first-round pick to the Saints. The Saints also had a first-round pick, but it went to the Eagles, which I think that ended up being a Jalen Carter pick. But nevertheless, when you look at this, they end up getting a defensive tackle, Brian Breesy, from Clemson, which was one of the guys that a lot of people thought that the Falcons were going to pick up, but they ended up getting him with the 29th pick overall. They also got Isaiah Foskey, another edge rusher, got him out of Notre Dame, which, I don't know. I wish I could get in touch with NY Kia, a guy I follow on Twitter. He would know more about him because he's a Notre Dame fan. And Kendra, I think I said that right. Kendra Miller, running back out of TCU, was their 3rd-round pick. Nick Salvadori, the offensive tackle out of Old Dominion, he was the 4th-round pick. Jake Haener, quarterback out of Fresno State, which is really interesting that they will pick a quarterback with that. I think that kind of tells you how they feel about Jameis Winston, to be honest with you. But nevertheless, that was a 4th-round pick from for the Saints. 5th round was a safety, Jordan Howell out of Minnesota, and the 6th-round pick, A.T. Perry, wide receiver out of Wake Forest. I don't know much about any of these guys. Maybe these guys will turn out to be something. I don't see anybody in this draft class that they picked up outside of Breesy and Miller. I like those two. I like the running back, and I like the defensive tackle. Obviously, the defensive tackle was going to be a Falcon at one point, where we thought he was. But I like Kendrick Miller from TCU. I saw him play a few times. He looked really good. So fairly solid to average draft for the Saints. But when I look at the rest of the team here, and I look at the depth chart, I don't see much here that's really going to be making anything be a splash. So when you look at the rest of the actual depth chart that's on paper now, they look okay. I'm not saying that they look terrible, but you can obviously tell that they're hurting on the front seven. I think the Falcons, we took a lot of their talent as far as the Adamaya and Caden Ellis, and then obviously we took the defensive line coach. I can tell you're looking at the depth chart. They're running a 4-3, and outside of Cameron Jordan, I don't see anybody else out there that's going to make a difference. Cameron Jordan is a Cameron Jordan. He's always been the guy that actually causes some issues. I think our offensive line should be okay up against him. He wasn't that much of a factor the last few times we played him, and it was really bittersweet watching the way we lost against the Saints last year because neither team was really that good. It really was. I mean, you saw what Marcus Mariota did, and then when it was time for, I think the first start for, Desmond Ridder. I think that was his first start, and he did okay, but it was just, both teams just wasn't that good. So hopefully with the Falcons transformation and what the Saints have done, I think we'll see better football at the end of the day. I mean, because both sides look pretty sloppy, especially with Derek Carr at quarterback. Alvin Kamara will be back. Him, Jamal Williams, and Kendrick Miller is going to be the running backs. I suspect Kendrick Miller to get more time than Jamal Williams, honestly. I don't see Alvin Kamara being an every down back. So expect to see a lot from Kendrick Miller if he does, make the strides that I think that he would. Now, when it comes to the receivers, you always have Michael Thomas. He tends to play better when he plays against the Falcons. But I think with our secondary, I think we should be able to do some things to lock up a lot of these guys that are that they're going to be throwing the ball to. I know AJ Terrell had a bad outing with him in the first game, but the second game was a little bit. I don't even think Michael Thomas even played the second game, and that's another thing. Michael Thomas is not necessarily reliable. He's on a 1-year deal, so I don't know how that's going to go. Chris Olave is a pretty solid receiver. Showing some flashes. Traquan Smith is another guy that they have. Brian Edwards at receiver. Don't know what you're going to get there. And Rashid Saheed is going to be there. Jawan Johnson is their tight end, and the backup from right now, based on what I see here, is Foster Moreau. And you got Taysom Hill that could play almost anywhere. So I'm looking at this team, and it's like, I don't see anything that's really special. The Saints are the Saints. They always play us tough every time we play them. I do still believe that the Falcons have the slightly better team based on the free agent moves and the draft that we did. I think we had a better draft than them. And with the more weapons that we have, I think we can give this defense of the Saints fits. And I would be remiss if I wouldn't talk about the secondary of the Saints, where you have Adebo, I think I said that right, Tyrann Mathieu, Marshawn Lattimore. You got guys in the secondary that actually can ball. I'm still not really sold on Marshawn Lattimore that much, but he is what he is. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna have a little bit of fits with what we have. I mean, we have a lot of weapons out there with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Cordell Patterson can go out and slot. Bijan Robinson is going to be out there now. Then you still got Jonnu Smith. We got a Scotty Miller. We have some weapons. So I don't think the secondary will be able to contain that much. The main thing is it's just all about the trenches. Are we going to be able to move the ball in the trenches? Because with the running backs we have, we should be able to. And if we give Desmond Ridder a little bit of time in the pocket, he's going to have a lot of weapons to throw to. So with that being said, I'm looking at this team. I think we should be able to, get up on them and make some things happen. Because the only thing about this is the fact that the Saints always play us tough. That's the only thing about it. That's the only thing. As far as anybody to look out for, if Michael Thomas is healthy, AJ Terrell has to do a little bit better job from what he did the last time they went up against each other. I don't see nobody else on that offense actually is going to be a threat. Chris Olave, maybe. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball with us the way that with the way our front seven is stacked right now. And with that being said, we probably could get to Derek Carr. Derek Carr can't move. Derek Carr can't move in the pocket. He's not that mobile, so we should be able to get to him. If we can get to him, Derek Carr is really easily to be rattled. And then now you're talking about a whole different situation, how the way this game is going to be, played. The offensive line is okay, but I think with the monsters that we got, or the athletes that we have on our front seven now, and with the mix with the type of secondary we have, we should be able to give this offense fits. We should be able to. Is it yet to be seen? Don't know. I mean, it is yet to be seen because it's all on paper right now. So we'll have to figure that out as it happens. Other than that, that's pretty much it, man. The Saints are going to be who they are. Look like they're going to be running a 3 wide receiver set, 1 tight end, base 4-3 defense. And I don't see anything out here that really gives us a threat to say, like, okay, the Saints are going to be the team that we need to look out for. I still think that the Carolina Panthers are much more respectable based on the roster. And I don't have nothing to say about Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So when you look at this 3-part series, basically what we're looking at is, I still believe that the Falcons are the front runners to win this division. I believe that. I mean, I think that the Falcons are going to be able to shock a lot of people. If we were able to do what we did with the 7-10 record last season, and we did all these moves, there's no way that we go backwards. I just don't see it. And you look at the rest of these teams in this division, I'm not going to lie to you, we have a really good chance to sweep this division. Will we sweep this division? I don't know. I mean, it's always one of those games in the division that we may get got. I mean, that's just how it is. But as far as what I see here is the Falcons, then the Panthers, and then it look like the Buccaneers and the Saints are going to be fighting for 3 and 4. That's what it looks like on paper now. Like I said, I'm very impressed with what the Panthers have on paper. They look a lot better than I thought they did. The Saints, not so much. The Saints they look like the Saints of old, to be honest with you. Even with Derek Carr, the new quarterback, I don't see anything that really stands out to be like, okay, what is this team going to be? Basically, we're just going to have to go in there, and when we play them, we just got to play our game because the Saints always play us tough. The Buccaneers, I don't see anything in the Buccaneers to make them seem that they could beat anybody in this division. Even, I don't think they could beat the Saints or the Panthers, let alone the Falcons. So that's the way I look at it on that end. So let me know what you guys think. If you like this commentary, hit this like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like I said, I feel like this is what it's going to be. Falcons, Panthers, Saints, Bucks, and you can switch 3 and 4 out. That's just how it is. Hopefully you like this 3-part series. It was a pretty fun one to actually look at these teams from a different perspective because I'm always looking at the Falcons, So that was pretty dope. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble, also Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Check me out on Twitter at VFBaller. Also, firstandframerates.com, firstandframerates.com. That's the website. I am going to get up out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the rest of your Wednesday evening. I am going to go and get ready for Thursday. Hopefully you guys have a great one. You guys take it easy and you guys be blessed. Peace.